In this video, I'm going to share a quite advanced use case of using Claude to enhance your daily life. My name is Misha. I'm a DevOps engineer from the Netherlands, and recently I've taken a deeper interest into interacting with AI and large language models, and specifically Claude. When Claude came around in June, then I really started getting into this, and Claude is just amazing. So let me explain what I'm doing here. So I am very into optimizing my health using health metrics. So I wear an Aura ring and I track my sleep, and I basically track everything, track my calories. I'm an engineer by trade and I love seeing graphs and data. So I'm very into that kind of stuff. Now, what becomes challenging is the actual analysis of this stuff. And recently I've been noticing a problem where I will fall asleep I usually go to bed at 8:30 in the evening, and then at about 1 a.m., 2 a.m., I will wake up feeling fully refreshed and ready for the day. And for a couple of weeks, I just thought, oh, great, I didn't need as much sleep today, and I'm just gonna go for it. So I just started working. And as an entrepreneur, that's really good because then you can put in a 16-hour workday. Well, this has been really productive, but it's not good for my long-term health. And now I'm getting back into prioritizing for sleep. And this is actually stopping me from getting a good night's sleep, this waking up in the middle of the night. So this is a problem that I'm having now. Now, I have been recently watching a 4-hour series on exercise science. I should say a 6-part series, Huberman Galpin series. Let me just show you it. Here, guest series with Dr. Andy Galpin. And this is like 6 episodes of 2, 4.5, 3.5, 3 hours each. So there's tons of information here. But with all of this information and the data, it becomes quite challenging to keep track of all the variables, right? So the idea I had was to start bringing this all together and just use AI to help me with getting some conclusions. And it has been producing amazing results. So bear with me, I'm going to explain everything, but I'm getting some very deep insights into my metrics currently that I would not have had if I had not used AI to do this. So what I'm doing is Claude has this feature called projects, which is amazing. So in these projects, what you can do is you can add a ton of context that the LLM will then use for all of the subsequent prompts that you create. And you can also set custom instructions. Now, this one I've left empty, but I did have one before in this project where I have a very big prompt. You're an AI assistant specialized in exercise programming and fitness coaching with a particular focus on strength training and hypertrophy, etc. Well, and just before I continue, if you're using like 20-word prompts to interact with AI, you're absolutely doing it wrong. This is how you should be prompting AI models, and I am just a beginner. These prompts are only going to grow as I continue my journey in this, but this is basically what you should be moving towards. And this entire prompt and everything I'm sharing with you is available for free in my free community. The link will be down below so that you can join. No cost, no, nothing, all for free. So what I've done is I made a text document with my current situation where I'm saying that I'm 34 years old, 190 centimeters tall, and my training history, and that I am now getting back into training again after about 7 years. I trained for 10 years, had a break of 7 years, and now I'm back into strength training. Now, what I did was I pulled the transcript of this 4.5 long video about protocols to build strength and grow muscles. So basically everything, all the latest science that you need what you need to know in order to induce hypertrophy, to gain muscle mass. And I added that into this project. So now every prompt that I do has the knowledge of that video condensed into it. So that in itself is already super useful. So what I did was I recently hurt my back a bit, so I had to take that into account. And so here is a prompt that says optimizing upper body hypertrophy with sciatica restrictions. Now, with this prompt, I was able to create a full program where I say I want to have 15 sets per muscle group per week. I want to train 4 times a week, and I want to do this and that, this and that. So you give all these parameters, and with a bit of prompting, it just creates this perfect program for you. And then if you then instruct it to say, output the entire optimized and revised program in a spreadsheet, it will actually make a beautifully rendered version of it that you can just easily reference, and you can transfer it to Excel, for example, or something like that. So it's just amazing how well this works. I was surprised how well this works, because when I ask it to summarize the number of sets, like here it says, okay, I'm hitting 18 sets weekly on the chest, 20 sets weekly on the back, front delt 70 sets weekly. It takes all of these parameters and structures it around it. And it did that in a matter of, in a minute. And you know how hard this is to do yourself if you're just drawing it out? It's impossible. And to know all of the perfect latest science while taking this into account, it's amazing. So now I created my program, but getting back to this problem that I'm having with midnight awakenings, as I'm listening to this series, I was actually, they actually spoke about how midnight awakenings can be a sign of overtraining. So what I'm doing now is I am now thinking that, okay, maybe I'm just training too hard. I trained for 2 months now, and I've been actually gaining quite a bit of muscle mass, gaining a lot of weight, and really liking it. But my sleep quality is reducing. So here is my data from Aura, and here you see, I should say, I'm going to do a full video on my metrics setup later. Let me know if you're interested in that in the comments. But as you see here, sleep is not a given for me. I fluctuate a lot, and because I'm an entrepreneur, I have to work very hard, and that means that I also sometimes sacrifice sleep for work, which is not a good thing, and I'm trying to work on that. I'm trying to become a better person. And as you see, I started tracking in March, and then it has been fluctuating since, especially in the summer when things got very hot. So this is basically the sleep trajectory here. And especially here, things were starting to get really bad. And then I figured, okay, this is not good. I need to take charge here. So from here, I started optimizing my sleep, and I've been doing quite well, but it's still going up and down, as you see here. Now, if I then take this and filter it a little bit more recent, so we are currently in November 2024, and I just filter this a bit, let's say from September, that's about when I started training. Now you see my sleep score initially improved a lot, but now it is decreasing again, and my total sleep is decreasing. So I'm like having this problem that I wake up in the middle of the night, and I can't figure out why that is. Now, what the problem is probably overtraining. And you can see this reflected in what is called the average HRV, the heart rate variability. And I'm not, the definition has something, I don't know it by heart, pun intended, but it's it has to do with the speed of your heart rate and how much that varies across the night, because that it usually measures it across the night. And here you can really see how I was around 40, and now, like recently, when I really picked up the training, it just declined so much. And then the Aura app is telling me every day that I am spending much more time in a stressed zone, and that I'm stressed out, because it has this readiness score, which usually was around like 85 or much higher if I look back historically. Here you see that my readiness score is, the average is 81, but like it has been up until the 90s, and then here it hovers around 85. So it's going up and down, as you see, but it's 75 now, and that is definitely a problem. It's a sign that I'm pushing it too hard. So what I did now was I exported this data. So you can export this data as a CSV, and I fed that into Claude. Here, that's what you see here. I fed that into Claude, and then next I use an app called Strong App for the iPhone, Strong Workout Tracker. Here, this is the app. Here, and it's a really nice app. I'm just tracking all of my workouts, all of the reps that I do. And the great thing about this app is that you can export it as a CSV file. So I took the data from my Aura on the web for the past few months, and I exported my Strong data, and then I asked it, let me see, that's not the right one. Here, this one. Here, I took that data, and then I asked it to analyze it. So here's saying, based on this detailed analysis of your recent health metrics, here are the key findings. There's a clear correlation between sleep duration and the next day readiness. Nights with less than 7 hours of sleep, average readiness of 70. Nights with more than 7 hours of sleep, average readiness of 81. Short sleep also impacts HRV. And here it says, it shows consistent daily fluctuations. Your resting heart rate tends to increase with consecutive training days, and lowest recovery scores typically follow short sleep nights and high volume training days. Super cool. So it's already deducing that from the metrics. Now, what it's saying here is, here, this is a really cool part. So here I told it. So I hope you can see this on the video. So first of all, it has my data, and then I asked it to output this in a visual manner. I used here, please create an interactive chart or graph that visualizes the relationship between my sleep duration, HRV, readiness scores, and training performance. Now, here's something interesting. So over here, about the last week of October, I hurt my back. I was doing some bent over rows, and I did them a little bit too heavy, and I have an old back injury that flared up, and I got piriformis syndrome, and that flared up my sciatica again. So here I had to basically stop all training and just go be in bed and just relax. Now, as you see here, it actually went from, my HRV went from 33, and it went all the way up to 62. So you see that curve going up. That's the week when I was basically just lying in bed and not doing anything. But I was like really frustrated. I couldn't train, and I wanted to make progress. So I went back to training, and then boom, my HRV has really decreased to 29 now, which is not good. So there are a couple of things that I see from this data, and that Claude actually really presented very nice to me. And this is how Claude is helping me to understand these and make these connections. So HRV is basically, if my HRV lowers, then I know that I'm stressing my body or my nervous system. And this can be because of business stress. I also have a fair bit of that, but also like training stress. And it appears to me that I'm actually probably doing too much. I'm training, I always train to failure, and I train like 4 or 5 days a week. I went into it with a lot of zeal and really enjoying it. But then it started impacting my sleep. And, if you don't like, growing muscle is not about lifting weights, it's about recovering from lifting weights. And I am having a lot of problems with recovering right now, apparently. So I need to take action here. So I asked it, based on all of this data, what to do. And that's where I am now. So it is telling me that there's the HRV patterns that are decreasing. And now it's telling me that I'm actually accumulating fatigue. So this is really important feedback that I hadn't actually considered myself. So the high HRV during bed rest indicates your body was in a strong parasympathetic state. There's a rapid drop after returning to training, suggesting that your body hasn't fully readjusted. The current lower HRV, hovering around 30, suggests accumulated fatigue. So let's check out my Aura data for, just since I started tracking. So that's about over half a year. So if I track my average HRV, it has been around 40 milliseconds, with peaking around 48, around 50. 50 is good. Lowest has been 33. And now it is at 29. So I'm definitely overstressing here. 40 is about the baseline. So that's an interesting thing to take into account here. But it suggests that I'm accumulating fatigue. So the key implications here, and here's where it's get really interesting, your nervous system is showing signs of not fully recovering between sessions. The declining HRV trend indicates you may be accumulating systemic fatigue. Current training volume might be too high for your recovery capacity. Now, I'm the type of person who needs to be told this, right? I need someone to, preferably I would have a coach, but I can't really afford that yet. But like this is arguably even better than having a human coach, because I can export all of my data that I'm tracking all day long and give it to Claude and get recommendations based on the data. And that's the most important thing, that you get things on objective data that you gather yourself. And yeah, you might be thinking, oh, you're just feeding all of your health data into Claude. Yeah, I don't really mind the Anthropic knowing about my sleep patterns and such like. I don't really care about that. I don't have a problem with them knowing about that, especially if it even possibly helps them. Like I know that they're not using this data to train the model currently, but they might be. And I don't have a problem with that, but it's just super interesting that it's giving me these data-based observations, and I'm the person that needs to hear this, apparently. I really like to have it objectively represented to me like this. So it might be too high for my current recovery capacity. So here it recommends, I should reduce my training volume by 20 to 30%. I have to increase my rest periods, stop 2 to 3 reps short of failure, and I have to target 7.5 hours of sleep consistently. Consider adding there are some very interesting suggestions here. So another great thing of Claude is that it always asks these follow-up questions. And these are actually really helpful to determine the next step. So what am I going to do here? Well, what I want to do is, let's just do this. Let's just continue a little bit. So from the Aura data, I see that my average HRV since I started tracking is about 40 milliseconds. So is 29 millisecond then an indicator that I have gone too far? What would be a good target HRV to keep in mind when determining how well I'm recovering? Okay, so now it's analyzing all of the data again, and it's going to give me some recovery. And like, even if you have a human coach, they won't do this, right? They need some very advanced software if they have it in order to do this. But here it's just also exporting it as React. I mean, this is a very advanced use case of Claude, how it's augmenting my life. And I'm always figuring out more of these. So I think this is just super interesting. So here we go. Here we have our HRV recovery guidelines. So optimal recovery is when my HRV is above 40 milliseconds. Full training load okay, can progress volume intensity. Normal range should be around 35 to 40 milliseconds. Now I'm in the warning zone and the critical zone. Consider deload week, focus on recovery. So the current status is your HRV has dropped from a baseline of 40 milliseconds to 29, indicating a significant accumulated fatigue. And this suggests your body needs increased recovery support before returning to full training loads. Okay, well, so I know objectively, like I started having this problem with my sleep. And now I know, I knew I needed to do something, but I didn't know what to do. And now, based on the data, Claude is helping me. And this is the future, people. This is how AIs can make us better human beings with everything we do if you're just acquiring the skills to interact with these. So here it's asking me, like, design a specific deload program to help me restore my HRV. Yes, create a full program for me to restore to a healthy HRV. I'm not sure if I should stop training completely for a while, or should I keep training? I should also add that I am always training to failure. I keep doing reps until I cannot do another rep with proper technique anymore. I think that also has been too high intensity for hypertrophy work. Your observation about training to failure is crucial. This, combined with your declining HRV, helps explain the accumulated fatigue. Consistently training to failure on every set significantly increases recovery demands and neural fatigue. There you go. I was doing it wrong. So let me create a recovery-focused program that will help you restore HRV while maintaining muscle mass. All right. So here we go. What does it have for me? Phase 1, recovery week. Okay, so I'm still going to train, reduce systemic fatigue, all sets stop 3 to 4 reps before failure, and reduce the weights to 60% of your recent working weights. Wow. Okay. And here it's just also outputting an entire program for me as well. And these are going to be very nice short workouts, it seems. And lat pull down, leg press, machine shoulder press. Okay. So here it's even saying me like only proceed if the morning HRV has increased to above 32 milliseconds. And then it has a new program for me. And then after that, it shows me like the next one. So like this is just amazing. So here are my targets. Target minimum 7 hours of sleep. Nutrition focus, maintain protein at 100 grams minimum. So I told it in a bit previous chat that I'm a plant-based athlete and that I eat 150 grams. And I'm in a caloric surplus of 2,700 now. So it's telling me that I should also increase that. And with all of this, so I'm going to wrap up the video now, but I'm just showing you how with using these Claude projects, if you take the time of gathering information, in this case, a master class on exercise science, and then adding some more data into it and describing your current situation, if you then design these prompts properly, you can get so much out of Claude. Like I now have a full program that I need to do for the next weeks in order to increase my HRV. And I'm going to release this video, and actually I will report on that, like how that's going. So I just hope that I could have inspired you, give you some ideas that these AIs are more than just coding assistants. Write more than 20 words in your prompt and watch the results grow. I mean, this is just amazing. Let me know if this helped you. And if you want to get access to all of these, join my free community. I'm going to share everything there. See you later.